multidisciplinary team of anthropologists, pediatricians, diabetes specialized nurses, and dietitians. The services offered include access to insulin supply and pinprick blood glucose monitoring devices. Diabetic children aged 0 to 16 years old are managed by pediatricians. All type 1 diabetic patients, including children, have regular foot care and dental checkup and are provided with glucose meters and glucose strips free of charge. Adults are referred to retinal screening unit once yearly. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, my ministry has set up 7 retinal screening units all over the island for early detection of retinopathic diabetes and 11 foot care units for prevention of amputations. This government is prioritizing the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, which remains a major public health challenge in Mauritius. Following a policy decision in 1987, under the Labour Party, a dedicated prevention unit was created within the ministry after the first national NCD survey. This unit now forms part of the NCD Health Promotion and Research Unit and is actively engaged in a wide range of screening and prevention activities across the island. These include the screening in the community and at workplace, as well as screening of students of secondary schools of grade 7, grade 9, and grade 12, aged between 13 and 17, for the early detection of NCDs, including diabetes. Students with diabetes are referred to pediatricians in regional hospitals, and those with pre-diabetes are referred to nearest Mediclinic area health center and community health center for further investigation and treatment. This government has taken the bold measures as enunciated in the very first budget presented by the Prime Minister to discourage the high consumption of sugar by the population by increasing excise duty on sugar content in sugar sweetened products from 6 cents to 12 cents per gram as from 6 June 2025, and the increase in excise duty will be extended to chocolates and ice cream as from 1st October 2025.
Just one supplementary. Not being a medical technician, from what the Honourable Minister said, are there any other alternatives for those requiring daily testing at homes?
I think that is a bit difficult for the time being because of lack of pediatricians.
Honourable Dr. Onya.
I heard the Honourable Minister's answer. With review to the technical report by Professor Owen, who is an eminent endocrinologist and diabetologist, did the team also said that continuous glucose monitoring should not be part of a national policy for juvenile diabetes type 1?
No, he didn't say that. It was in reference to whatever the new system that was proposed by the previous government, but he didn't speak about it.
Okay. Second member for Grand Bay Putudo.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Question B560. Thank you.
Yes. Well, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the NLTA that the village of Melville, Kongkop, is served by 6 buses owned by individual bus operators. These buses, which ply along Route 178, Melville, Madame Azor via Goodlands, are registered with the Bus Owners Cooperative Society, North. I am further informed that repeated complaints regarding the unsatisfactory level of service resulting from non-observance of established timetable were received at the level of the NLTA. Furthermore, with the extension of Route 178 to Bois d'Oiseau, Poutreau, since 13th July 2024, the service has faced significant delays, resulting in increased inconvenience to residents of Melville and Manamazo. As I apprised the House on 17 December 2024, a day on which the Honourable Member had first questioned me on the same locality, with a view to mitigating the low level of public bus transport service along Route 178, while addressing the complaints received thereto, 2 temporary RSLs were granted to operators thereat, and these buses start plying since February 2023 and December 2024. While this remedial measure initially led to some improvements and fewer complaints, I am made to understand that the service reliability has once again declined, and the main reason being due to aging fleet. According to the NLTA, several buses, particularly those over 14 years of age, are prone to frequent breakdowns, resulting therefore in poor level of service. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to enlighten the House that out of 6 buses plying along Route 178, there are two are above 14 years, that is 15 and 17, while the other one has reached 12 years, implying that 50% of the current operational fleet thereat is prone to frequent breakdowns. Furthermore, in light of recent checks undertaken by the NLTA Inspectorate, it has been observed that only 5 buses are in active operation along Route 178, as one bus is off-road since September 2024 and still has not been replaced. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in the light of this situation, the NLTA has had several meetings with the operators of the cooperative society to discuss about the various complaints regarding non-compliance with the established timetable. The operators were cautioned by the regulator, that is the NLTA, that they were warned that failure to maintain service levels may result in disciplinary measures. The operator, whose bus is not operating since September 2024, has reassured the NLTA that arrangements are ongoing for the replacement of this bus in the next 3 months. Furthermore, the other operators were encouraged to consider the timely renewal of their buses while availing from support from the bus modernization scheme, which is being voted in this budget. Concurrently, enforcement has been stepped up and fixed penalty notices are being issued to drivers for timetable breaches. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish, however, to highlight to the House that the NLTA reported that redeployment of buses from other routes to routes of 178, which were being contemplated, remains challenging and is in fact not advisable since the route there cannot accommodate larger buses because the roads are small. The specificity of the road is suitable for only 30 to 40-seater buses. Consequently, the NLTA is exploring the possibility of licensing one additional bus on Route 178, which is with the aim of reinforcing operation, improving frequency, and easing the difficulties faced by residents and students, those at Melville and Congo. As a last note, I will follow with the NLTA to ensure that a sustainable solution at the earliest be found. I'm confident that with the introduction of the fleet management system, things will improve going forward.
Yes, supplementary.
The Honourable Minister informs the House that surprise visits at regular intervals by officers of the NLTA can be carried out to ensure that they adhere to the scheduled time for the buses.
There is, since about 2 weeks now, a new management at the NLTA, and I've had meetings with them with a view to taking on board the propositions made by the honourable member.
Okay. The Honourable Second Member for Vieux-Grand-Port, Rosebell.
Thank you, Mr. the Deputy Speaker. Sir, is question B/562, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Municipal Council of Curepipe that in 2015, it undertook 15 renovation works as follows. First, renovation of the fencing of the basketball, volleyball pitch and lighting at Lee. Second, lighting at the Kazan football ground. Third, upgrading of fencing works at football ground at Sir Winston Churchill Stadium. Fourth, levelling and turfing of Loiseau football ground. Fifth, levelling and turfing of the Kazan football ground development project 2024. Sixth, maintenance of building at the cemetery. 7, construction of temporary metal structure for fairs at the Forum Market Fair. 8, extension of existing metal structure for temporary fair at the Forum Market Fair. 9, fencing of volleyball pitch at Loiseau. 10, lighting works at volleyball pitch at Loiseau Phase 1. 11, lighting works at volleyball pitch at Loiseau Phase 2. 12, turfing of the existing football ground at La Pérouse Street, Curepipe. 13, lighting works at Le Casier Football Ground. 14, extension of existing metal structure from fair. And 16, construction of spiral metal staircase at Curepipe Market. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am advised that no consultancy services were retained for these projects. I am tabling the details with cost estimate and final contract value as requested in the first question.
The question was about the town hall of Curepipe.
Yeah. However, I am informed that in March 2014, the Municipal Council of Curepipe took a decision to restore and repair the town hall of Curepipe. And in October 2015, it proceeded with a request for proposal to appoint a consultant for the restoration and repairs of the town hall. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the town hall of Curepipe was closed since 2013. In March 2014, the Council took a decision to restore and renovate the town hall based on a collaboration between the Municipal Council of Curepipe and the Split Limited consultant of SOS Patrimoine. The latter had estimated the cost for restoration and repairs of the town hall at 38 million rupees. It is worth noting that the material constituting the town hall of Curepipe are mainly made of wood. Hence, in the extremely humid climate of Curepipe, this material is bound to be affected and prone to decay. For more than a year and a half had elapsed, and by then the town hall had fallen into more despair. The approval of the then project and plan committee was obtained in September 2014. The Municipal Council of Curepipe then proceeded with a request for proposal in October 2015 to appoint a consultant still on the same estimate of 38 million rupees and with a closing date on 9 November 2015. The bid evaluation committee recommended that the contract for consultancy be awarded to Desai and Associates Limited for an amount of 1,840,000 rupees exclusive of that. The contract was awarded and the consultancy contract agreement was signed on 8 July 2016. Desai and Associates was selected on the basis of having achieved the highest combined technical and financial scores. The consultancy service was for a duration of 30 months. However, the total cost of the repairs and refurbishment were assessed by the consultant Desai and Associates Limited in 2016 at 134 million rupees. That is 134,987,000 rupees inclusive of VAT. That is before proceeding with the invitation of bids for renovation works. The increase in cost estimate was due to inclusion of new items such as replacement of majority of internal timber claddings, strengthening works to timber floor structure, refurbishment of kitchen, luminaire, and other accessories, including revised estimate for replacement of roof structure given that there was further deterioration in the structure. A comparative exercise was effected by the Council regarding the updated cost. The Council had highlighted that the town hall is experiencing a continuous deterioration with time and had sought the approval of the project plan committee regarding the increase in the cost of the project since, as per the investment project process manual, any project whose pre-tender cost estimate exceeded the approved cost estimate by 15% at project design phase had to obtain the clearance of the aforesaid mentioned committee. By then, the project involved in the renovation of the town hall of Curepipe instead of just restoration and repairs. On 8 February 2017, the project plan committee had requested the ministry to ask the Municipal Council to seek a second opinion on the estimate cost proposed by the consultant and to try to revise same downwards. The Municipal Council of Curepipe requested that campus wood could be used as an alternative material for the roof shingle instead of thick shingle, which would cause a significant decrease of around 16 million rupees. The use of alternate materials at the basement level was also recommended, following which the cost was revised to 117,380,000 rupees exclusive of VAT. On 6 April 2018, the Municipal Council of Curepipe informed that the cost estimate had been revised from 117,380,000 rupees exclusive of VAT to 126,198,000 exclusive of VAT, that is 145,127,700 VAT inclusive. The then head Public Infrastructure Department of the Council informed on 9 April 2018 that the increase in cost is due to the further deterioration of the public infrastructure resulting from heavy rainfall during the period 2017 to 2018. On 17 April 2018, the then Ministry of Local Government and Outer Islands conveyed its approval for the increase in project value for the renovation of the Town Hall building of Curepipe from 117,380,000 exclusive of VAT to 198,000 exclusive of VAT, that is 145,177,700 VAT inclusive. Consequently, the consultant submitted on 6 August 2018 a revised consultancy fees 6,615,000 excluding VAT based on the new estimate cost and increase in the scope of works. A bid evaluation committee was set up at the level of the council to assess the revised consultancy fee. That committee recommended that an amount of 6,033,000 rupees be paid to the consultant. The approval of the then Ministry of Local Government and Outer Islands was sought, following which the advice of the Procurement Policy Office was requested, following which a meeting was held at the level of the Procurement Policy Office on 10 January 2019, where it was noted that the Municipal Council of Curepipe had erroneously interpreted Section 46, subsection 4 of the Public Procurement Act 2006 to justify the increase in consultancy fees with no limit, when it should have referred to Section 46, subsection 3 of the Public Procurement Act 2006, which caps the amount the Council was just requested to reassess the revised fees. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, a new bid evaluation committee was set up, which recommended...
Sorry, you are going too long. The question is simple. As to the initial cost,
sorry, finish.
And the consultancy fees and the final cost.
Yeah, the final is coming on the final.
Just please inform us about these three items.
Yeah. The consultant was not agreeable to this revised fees and went arbitration given that the Municipal Council of Curepipe could not go against the provision of the Public Procurement Act 2006 and the Public Procurement Regulation 2008. Following the arbitration, an award of 13 million rupees was made to design and associate, including consultation fees, arbitration costs, legal fees, and interests.
I'm sure the question is very clear. The answer was okay. Honourable Second Member for Holding.
Yes. Five.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, la 13e édition des Jeux de la Commission de la Jeunesse et des Sports de l'Océan Indien will be held on the 2nd to 10th August 2025 in Seychelles. Since its inception, our country has always participated in the CGSOE Games. Mr. Deputy Speaker, as regards part A1 of the question, I'm informed that this year's edition will feature 11 sports disciplines and a concours culturel. The sport disciplines are athletics, para-athletics, badminton, basketball, beach soccer, boxing, football, judo, swimming, volleyball, weightlifting, and yachting. Mr. Speaker, with regard to part A2 of the question, I'm informed that the 7 member countries have confirmed their participation, namely Comoros, Djibouti, Madagascar, Mauritius, Mayotte, Réunion Island, and Seychelles. Mr. Deputy Speaker, concerning part 8.3 of the question, I'm informed that 165 participants, including 27 from Rodrigue, will represent the Republic of Mauritius. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in order to ensure an optimal preparation for the Games, my ministry is providing the following facilities and support. Access to the High Performance Center at Côte d'Or National Sport Complex for physical preparation, participation in local and regional competition, a light meet after training session, sport facilities, intensive training camps tailored to each sport, provision of specific equipment, and medical and paramedical facilities, such as massage, vitamins and supplement, blood tests, and dental care. A committee de suivi chaired by the Director of Sports of our ministry has been set up to ensure the effective implementation of these measures. Accordingly, officers of my ministry conduct regular site visits and hold regular meetings with the national sport federations. These allowed for close monitoring and timely feedback on the ongoing preparation. Further, I'm informed by the Commission of Youth and Sport in Rodrigue that athletes are provided with transport facilities for training purposes in Rodrigue. The Commission also met the travel costs for the athlete who came to Mauritius to participate in qualifying rounds in the case of athletics, boxing, and volleyball. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as regards part B of the question, as I have already indicated, the CGSOE Games also features a concours culturel, which includes an assemblée de jeunes, where our youth, one boy and one girl, will intervene on this year's theme, which is les enjeux climatiques et l'éco-responsabilité des jeunes. An exchange cultural dance and theatre where there are Mauritian boys and girls will present a dance item specific to our country. A salon des jeunes entrepreneurs where 2 Mauritians, 1 male and 1 female, will have an opportunity to showcase their entrepreneurship talent. E-sports where 1 boy and 1 girl will get to compete in a video games against participants from other countries. And a forum de la jeunesse where all young people from the 7 countries of the CGSOE and who are partaking in the concours culturel can participate. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm confident that with these facilities and support, our athletes will surely make our country proud and bring a maximum medals.
You have a supplementary?
Yes, please. If I have just missed some of the numbers, may I ask the Honourable Minister whether there will be parity in the national delegation for coaches, encadreurs, and the youth participants from Mauritius for the initiative of Concours Culturel, Salon des Jeunes, as you mentioned, for this game?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House and my honourable colleague from Rodrigue in particular that I have ensured that our youth from Rodrigue are adequately represented in the games. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, 6 young Rodriguans are participating in the Concours Culturel in parity with their counterpart from mainland Mauritius. This arrangement also applied to the encadreur. In the last edition of the CGSOE Games in 2022, in Mauritius, 2 young from Mauritius had participated therein. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to point out that the Commission for Youth and Sport in Rodrigue was entrusted with the responsibility of selecting the Rodriguan participant in respect of the Concours Culturel.
Yes, the Honourable Second Member for Curepipe, Amoka.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Question B564, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Mr. Deputy Speaker, with regard to assessment of the Division of Veterinary Services formerly known as Livestock and Veterinary Division, I wish to inform the House that an assessment was conducted by the World Organization for Animal Health from April 29th to 10th of May 2024, and a final report is still awaited. However, a draft report has been submitted to my ministry, and some of the key recommendations made by the World Organization for Animal Health are as follows. 1. Develop dedicated livestock animal health policy and strategy, which includes veterinary public health, adopting one health approach. 2. Develop formal guidelines for accurate documentation of inspection functions and to strengthen capacity to allow Division of the Veterinary Services to perform its core function more effectively and in line with the World Organization for Animal Health standards. 3. Develop a code of ethics and rules of practice and prepare work ethics guidelines to ensure the quality of veterinary service provision and review and revise all legislation covering the veterinary domain to comply with the World Organization Animal Health Terrestrial Animal Health Code. Mr. Deputy Speaker, a debriefing session was held at the level of my ministry to discuss the key recommendation of the World Organization for Animal Health, and an action plan is being formulated by the Division of Veterinary Services to guide implementation. I'm informed that over the past 10 years, livestock breeders have consistently raised concern about quality of service and have been calling for improved veterinary support from the Division of Veterinary Services. In the light of concern raised by livestock breeders, my ministry is taking the following measures to enhance the efficacy and efficiency of vet services. A. Increasing the number of mobile veterinary clinics from 1 to 3. B. Recruitment of veterinary officers. And C. Improve drug supply. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my ministry remains fully committed to strengthening veterinary service delivery through concrete and targeted action. The measures which have been mentioned aim at addressing the concern of breeders and ensure a more responsive, efficient, and effective veterinary service nationwide.
The Honourable Third Member for Montagne Blanche, Grande Rivière South Seas.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, sir. B565.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in regard to the newly announced implementation of specialty services in ophthalmology, cardiology, and neurosurgery, I wish to inform the House that several measures are being taken by my ministry to strengthen the healthcare services at the New Flag Hospital. Ophthalmology and cardiology services are being enhanced and made more accessible to the population in the eastern region. Insofar as neurosurgery is concerned, a new neurosurgery outpatient department has been operational in the New Flag Hospital. Since January 2025, an ophthalmology unit has been set up at New Flag Hospital. Cataract surgeries are being conducted on a daily basis, and ophthalmology outpatient consultation is held every Monday at the hospital. In addition, retinal screening is also conducted at Lady Sushil Ramula Mediclinic, which falls under the purview of the New Flag Hospital. This decentralization of ophthalmology services has improved access to eye care and also significantly reduced waiting times for surgical procedures. It is to be noted that ophthalmology services are already being offered at Mocha Eye Hospital and Suyak Hospital, contributing to a broader and more efficient regional network. The establishment of ophthalmology unit at the Flag Hospital has further bolstered these services and deliver much needed care to residents of the eastern and northern regions. In line with our commitment to continually enhance specialized care, my ministry is presently working on the establishment of a state-of-the-art coronary angiography unit at the New Flag Hospital. Once operational, this unit will allow for the performance of diagnostic angiography and interventional procedures such as angioplasty, thus providing critical life-saving services locally and reducing the need for patient transfers to other major hospitals. As far as neurosurgery is concerned, my ministry is actively engaged in the setting up of a specialized neuroscience trauma and rehabilitation center by early 2026. This initiative forms part of the broader strategy to decentralize tertiary care and to improve access to advanced neurosurgical services in the region. The unit will be equipped to handle neurosurgical cases and will include a dedicated neuro outpatient department for consultations, follow-up, and non-invasive assessments. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the implementation of these specialty services coupled with comprehensive ENT unit at the new flag hospital reflects this government's unwavering commitment to equitable, decentralized, and highly quality health care delivery, which has the objective of providing timely and accessible care for all our citizens.
Yes, the Honorable Second Member for Belrose-Cambo.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. B566.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regards to Part A of the question, I am informed by Metro Express Limited that since I took office in November last, a total of 5 incidents have been reported at various metro stations, including those of Triano and Belrose, in the constituency of the Honourable Member. The total loss suffered by MEL amounts to 5.2 million rupees. That is 102,170 as stolen money and 5.1 million rupees, I am informed, as damages to assets. I am tabling the reports from MEL with regards to these incidents, which is here. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, regarding Part B of the question, insofar as security measures are concerned, I am informed that security services are provided to all Metro Express Limited premises, including the light rail corridor, station, and ticket vending machines, which is part of your question, and this is done in toto, by a company called Edmond Security Services Limited, in short, ESSL. The contract for this company has been renewed on several occasions since the beginning of the project, I've been further informed, and on 29 May 2024, an annual amount of 23,339,940 was the contract which was awarded for 2 years. As per the contract, security deployment for night duty operations for ensuring security comprises of the following. Yes, 2 security guards posted at Richelieu Depot, gate post, 1 security guard assigned to the CCTV monitoring room located at Richelieu Depot, 4 patrol vehicles, each with 2 security guards, deployed to cover designated stretches of the mainline network, and 2 security guards conducting foot patrolling along vulnerable sections of the corridor. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as regard Part C of the question, I am informed that following the incidents, MEL took a series of immediate actions as follows. Number 1, cash collection by MEL at all stations daily, so as to limit the overnight amount of cash in the ticket vending machines. Number 2, on 19 May, an ambush operation was organized by MEL, supported by police, which led to the arrest of one of the 2 perpetrators. Number 3, a meeting was held on 23 May 2025 with the divisional commander of the Western Division of the Police and MEL, which confirmed that actions were underway to locate and apprehend the second suspect involved in the 19 May 2025 incident, who still remains at large so far. Number 4, CC footage for all incidents have been handed over to CID, SOCO, and FIU to facilitate ongoing investigations. Number 5, in parallel, MEL reinforced its internal surveillance with response to protocol through its operational control center. And lastly, number 6, the police has been requested to reinforce security along the metro corridor. I am further informed, as a last note, that in a special board meeting held last week, the board took cognizance of the whole matter. I am further informed that the termination of the contract will be on the agenda on the forthcoming board, which is scheduled on 21st of June 2025. Thank you.
Yes.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Would the Honourable Minister inform the House whether the company involved is the same one that was at the centre of the Moustache Links scandal prior to the last general elections? Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. My attention has been drawn to these two videos, allegedly mentioning that company in particular, and one, again, allegedly, during the very sensitive period, which is the tender process.
Last one.
Last
one. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. In the light of the above, will the Honourable Minister consider referring the matter to the FCC? Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is of the remit of the Board of Metro Express Limited. I can certainly convey this, especially the more so there is a board meeting forthcoming, that this be taken on the agenda as well. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Second Member for Grand Bay.
Thank you. B567.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed that the State Trading Corporation had launched an open international bid for the current supply of white oils on the government e-procurement portal on 16th of April 2024 for the supply of white oils, namely Mogas gas oil, Jet A1 and marine gas oil. 7 bids had been received and further to an evaluation exercise by the STC. The contract for the supply of white oil was awarded to Sahara Energy Resource Limited, the substantially lowest technically responsive bidder with respect to the premium, which comprises the supplier's margin, freight costs, insurance, and other ancillary costs at loading and unloading ports, including port charges, deviation, bunkers, tank cleaning and preparation, and security team fees if necessary, and contamination risks. The total price paid by the STC for each consignment is the premium plus the reference Platts price for the product, which varies daily. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with respect to Part A of the question, I am informed that the duration of the contract is for the period 1st of August 2024 to 31st of July 2025. With respect to Part B of the question, the annual contract for the premium was estimated at $57.17 million, equivalent to 2.66 billion rupees, and the total contract amount was estimated at $598.91 million, equivalent to 27.87 billion rupees, which comprise the reference Platts price plus the premium.
Yes,
Deputy Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister confirm whether the STC has launched a new tender exercise recently?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed that on 11th of April 2025, the STC launched an open international bidding exercise for the supply of white oils for the period of 1st August 2025 to 31st of July 2026. At the opening of bids on 16th of May 2025, 14 bids were received. I understand that the new contract is costing around 1 billion rupees less than the present contract.
Okay. No, last one. No.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House what is the premium price and the total contract amount of the new contract starting from the 1st August 2025 till 31st July 2026, and also of the situation of the price stabilization account? Thank you.
Concerning the price stabilization account, I am informed that as at 17th June 2025, the PSA, which is normally used to stabilize the retail prices of mogas and gas oil, currently has a deficit of 2.8 billion rupees for gas oil, while there is a slightly positive balance of 400 million rupees for mogas. We must also understand that at a certain time, the deficit was around 5.2 billion rupees when the previous government was in power.
Okay. Honorable Flight Member for Problems Theory.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, B568.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the State Insurance Company Limited, SICOM, that with regard to Part A of the question, 4 officers at clerical level were recruited in the year 2024 to replace 3 officers who had retired and 1 who had resigned. And with regard to Part B of the question, I am informed that the SICOM administers 3 pool pension funds under different legislations. Firstly, the statutory bodies pension funds set up under the Statutory Bodies Pension Funds Act and relevant regulations. Secondly, the SICOM Pool Private Pension Fund set up under the Private Pension Schemes Act. And thirdly, the Public Sector Defined Contribution Pension Fund, Public DC, set up under the Statutory Body Pension Funds Act and the Pensions Act. The revenue of the 3 pension funds amounted to 8.6 billion rupees for the year 30th June 2024, and the expenditure amounted to 5.2 billion rupees.
Honorable Second Member for Belrose Cadbon.
B569, merci.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to the provision of duty-free facilities for the purchase of motor vehicles by priests, religious federations, and religious associations, I wish to inform the House that this measure was announced in the budget speech 2024-2025 by the previous government. The measure was intended to provide duty-free facilities for the purchase of motor cars every 7 years to those eligible. The eligibility criteria are as follows. First, a priest registered with or employed by a religious federation receiving a government subsidy. Second, a priest registered with or employed by a religious association. Third, a priest registered with the Ministry of Arts and Culture. Or fourth, a religious federation employing priests and receiving a government subsidy. This measure is supported by amendments to the Excise Act via the Finance Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2024 and the Excise Amendment of Schedule Number 4, Regulation 2024, with effect from 1st October 2024. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, while my ministry was designated to implement this measure in collaboration with the Mauritius Revenue Authority, it is crucial to place this decision in its proper political and economic context. The timing of this measure raises serious questions. It was promulgated on the 1st October 2024, just 3 days before the issue of the writ of election on 4th October 2024, and barely 5 weeks before the general elections on 10th November 2024. It is evident that this scheme was rushed through at the 11th hour by the outgoing government in a clear attempt to secure political favor and votes from specific segments of the population. This last-minute measure was introduced without any proper consultation, impact assessment, and consideration of its fiscal implications at a time when the economic fundamentals were already under strain. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part A1 of the question, I am informed that as at date, 38 applications have been received, out of which only 31 applicants have submitted all the required documentations. With regard to Part A2, no beneficiary has yet been granted the facility. This is mainly due to delays by applicants in submitting the complete set of required documents. In fact, 7 applicants have still not done so. Moreover, by the time most documents were received, we were on the eve of the budget 2025-2026. In light of the major reforms introduced in the budget speech 2025-2026, particularly with regard to vehicle taxation, traffic congestion, and our foreign currency reserves, my ministry has been advised by the Ministry of Finance to seek a policy decision before any further action is taken. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I am informed that a technical committee has been constituted at the level of my ministry to evaluate all applications and make recommendations for approval of non-approval. The committee is chaired by the Director of Culture and includes representatives from the Prime Minister's Office, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Local Government, the Registry of Association, and the Mauritius Revenue Authority. I am further informed that only one meeting has been held so far on 23rd January 2025, during which it was found that the majority of applications were incomplete and lacked key documents. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this government remains firmly committed to promoting religious and socio-cultural harmony, but we will do so with fiscal discipline, equity, and transparency. We believe public funds must be managed responsibly and fairly. The previous government's approach of introducing last-minute electoral incentive without due process is not in keeping with good governance. As such, the scheme is currently under consideration and a final decision will be taken shortly. Thank you.
Okay, you have one supplement?
2 supplements, please, Mr. Speaker.
Let's proceed one by one.
Yes, one by one. A delay of 7 months is considerable, especially when it concerns priests and religious federations and associations. Would the Honourable Minister inform the House the reason behind such a delay? Thank you.
I think I just explained the delay was because of the documents which have not been given to the ministry.
Last one. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Would the Minister inform the House when can the duty-free licenses be expected to be issued? Thank you.
Again, I already replied. I said that it is under consideration and the final decision will be taken shortly.
Okay, one question for
Mr. the Speaker, sir, I was following the reply of the Minister. Is it an established practice to have religious workers registered at the level of the Ministry of Arts and Culture?
I don't think so.
Okay, can we proceed with the next question? The Honourable Third Member for Pamplemousse-Guyoli.
So, Deputy Speaker, question B570.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the State Insurance Company Limited with regard to Part A of the question that the incumbent holds a school certificate, a higher school certificate, and is a fellow member of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries of the UK. I am also informed by the SECOM that the officer was a senior actuarial analyst since March 2008. In February 2018, the officer was promoted as Deputy Manager of Risk Department. In February 2020, the incumbent was laterally transferred to the Group Pensions Department. Then in March 2021, with the impending retirement of the Senior Executive Officer Group Pensions, the Group Pension Department was restructured and the incumbent was called upon to shoulder additional responsibilities. The incumbent was granted a monthly responsibility allowance with the normal conditions of service. I'm also informed by the SECOM that following the retirement of the Senior Executive Officer Group Pensions in August 2021, the officer was appointed to the position of Manager, Group Pensions, on 21st September 2021. In regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that in light of the foregoing, the post Manager Group Pensions Technical was not advertised internally or externally. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as mentioned earlier, I was informed that a restructuring had been undertaken in the department, but given that there seems to be more questions than answers, I am going to ask the board to undertake an independent investigation regarding this restructuring and the promotion of this officer. Thank you.
Question? Yes.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to ask the Honourable Minister if it is a normal practice in a financial services regulated company, and the more so a state-owned company, if it is a normal practice for promotions to be given without advertisement internally or externally.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in normal circumstances, there should have been a process. As I said, I've got more questions than answers, and so I will ask the board to undertake an independent review and investigation of the matter.
Honourable Third Member for Port East North and Port Island. Last question for today.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as regard to Part A of the question, 7 appointments have been made in the grade of Financial Controller since December 2014 to date. I am tabling the list.
Thank you.
As to Part B of the question, there is only one permanent funded vacancy in the grade of Financial Controller or at the Municipal Town Council of Bourg-Saint-Rosil following the retirement of Mr. James Daniel Lam Hing on 11 October 2024. I am informed that the vacancy for the post of Financial Controller has been advertised on 15 May 2025 among serving qualified officers, Principal Accountant in the service with closing date set at 28 May 2025.
Okay, question time is, we have exhausted all the questions, so the next item. Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Motion is seconded by the Deputy Prime Minister. The question is that all the business of today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statement by Minister.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, with your permission, I'm making a statement to the House. In the budget speech, we have announced a major reform of the basic retirement pension. It is abundantly clear that the old age pension system in Mauritius has become fiscally unsustainable and financially unbearable by the reckless policies of the previous government. In our country, the present working generation shoulders the responsibility of funding the BRP expenses for the elderly generation. When present workers retire, it will be their turn to benefit from pensions, and the future working generation will fund it. When the number of workers is much higher than the number of older retirees, the system is relatively sustainable. But when the number of workers shrinks and the number of old age pensioners soars, the system becomes financially unsustainable and financially unbearable. Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is extremely rare for a country to provide old age pension, one, to all persons who are 60 years old. Second, those who have not contributed for the old age pension, as the BRP is a non-contributory pension. And thirdly, everybody who attains the age of 60, irrespective of his income and assets. Mauritius, it seems, is the only case where we do this. Even in rich and advanced countries, the old age pension is paid much later than 60 years, often 65 years. In France, just now, they're proposing to increase the age to 67 years. In Germany, they're proposing to increase it to 70 years. It is sometimes contributory, and it mostly means tested, precisely to ensure its fiscal sustainability and its fairness and equity across generations. As a result of these three combined features in our old age pension, the BRP has become fiscally unsustainable and, as I said, financially unbearable. As a result of these three combined features in our old age pension, the BRP has become financially totally unsustainable. The following facts and figures demonstrate, beyond any reasonable doubt, about the fiscal unsustainability of the BRP. First, the share of BRP in GDP has increased from 1.9% in 2010 to 3% in 2015-2016, to 6.1% in 2020-2021, and it currently stands at 7.8% of GDP. Without reform, its share of GDP will continue to rise. Second, the proportion of BRP in government recurrent expenditure has escalated from 9.6% in 2010 to 14.2% in 2015-2016. It then rose to 20.1% in 2020-2021 and has reached 24.5% in 2024-2025. Again, without reform, it will continue to absorb a higher share of the recurrent expenditure. Third, BRP as a percentage of government revenue, recurrent revenue, has surged from 9.7% in 2010 to 15.2% in 2015-2016. It reached 21.4% in 2020-2021 and rose to a further 30.6% by 2024-2025. Again, without reform, its share of current expenditure will inexorably increase. Fourth, in absolute terms, the BRP has increased from 5.97 billion in 2010 to 13.1 billion in 2015-2016, and then to 27.9 billion in 2020 to 2021, and further to 55.4 billion in 2024 to 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in 14 years, between 2010 and 2024-2025, spending on pension has ballooned by a staggering 828%. In only 4 years, between 2021 and 2024-2025, it has almost doubled from 27.9 billion to 55.4 billion. It will reach 100 billion in 2035. Now, how can anybody say this is sustainable? Without reform, the expenditure on BRP will sharply rise. The population aged 60 and over has grown substantially from 186,400 in 2015 to 250,600 in 2024. It will continue to grow as the population ages and will reach around 315,000 in 2038. Equally, the ratio of older persons will rise considerably with the aging population, from around 20% today to 30% in 2051. Without reform, our pension system will run out of money if the current demographic trajectory persists. 6, the fertility rate. Fertility rate has dropped sharply over the years, from 5.9 in 1960 to 2.8 in 1980 to 1.57 in 2010 and 1.34 in 2024. It is now well below the replacement rate of 2.1. This indicates a declining population, and this trend will accelerate in the future. Without reform, there will be far fewer workers to support far more pensioners. 7th, the number of workers will continue to decline while the dependency ratio will rise, thus decreasing the ratio of working individuals to pensioners. The ratio of workers to pensioners has declined from 3.9 in 2015 to 2.7 now, and is expected to further fall to 2 in 2035. Without reform, the smaller working population will have to bear a growing burden of contributions to finance the pension of the many more retired. 8th, life expectancy at 60 years has increased for both men and women. Life expectancy of men at 60 has risen from 13.4 in 1962 to almost 17.92 in 2022. For women, it has gone up from 16.3 years in 1962 to 21.75 in 2022. It means that the government has to fund non-contributory pension for a much longer period for both men and women. Without reform, it will be very challenging to fund pension for more people with higher number of pensioners yearly. 9th, to give the House a sense of the financial burden, BRP payments in the last fiscal year exceeded the total government spending on education, on health and housing combined. Without reform, expenditure on pension will crowd out critical investment in education, health and housing. 10th, to finance this increasingly rising expenditure, government has to borrow massively, thus raising the public sector debt to an alarming level of 90% of GDP. Without reform, the debt will continue to rise as a share of GDP. 11th, debt servicing has risen sharply and is second most important expenditure after pension today. It is amounted to a staggering 21.8 billion rupees in fiscal year 2024-2025. Without reform, the country will spend a rising share of its expenditure on debt servicing and thus crowding out key priorities. As early as 2015, the IMF, in an expert report, projected that by 2050, expenditure on BRP would be at an unsustainable level of 8% of GDP. Because of the irresponsible decisions taken by the previous government, believe it or not, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we are already at 7.8% now. That is around 25 years ahead of what the IMF had projected. Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, no politician likes to make unpopular decisions. However, unchecked and unreformed, rising expenditures on BRP will significantly penalize our children and grandchildren. This is about intergenerational fairness and equity. We have no choice, Mr. Deputy Speaker, than to act responsibly. I fully understand that pension reform can be an unpopular choice for today's voters, presenting a dilemma for politicians sensitive to public opinion and also those engaged in reckless populism and unbridled demagogy. For all the reasons mentioned above, pension reforms are vital to rebalancing the burdens across present and future generations in a fair and equitable manner. This may entail short-term costs, but for long-term sustainability. It is why it is imperative that the general public is aware of the pension reform and the challenges we face in the future. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is an utter confusion in the mind of many people between a contributory and a non-contributory pension. A contributory pension requires the beneficiary to pay into the plan from his salary, like occupation pensions. In a non-contributory pension, the beneficiary does not contribute anything at all for the benefit he receives. The BRP is a non-contributory pension. There is no contribution from the beneficiaries. It is funded from the consolidated fund. As such, all increases in the BRP can only be financed through higher debt or higher taxes. Under a contributory pension system, an employee can choose to retire earlier than the prescribed retirement and benefit from a reduced pension. This, Mr. Deputy Speaker, does not apply to the BRP, which is, as I said, non-contributory. Eligibility to BRP is typically not based on employment history or prior contribution, but rather on factors such as age and residency. In other countries, it also depends on income and asset of beneficiaries. Let me make another confusion, clear another confusion about the retirement age. The budget has not changed the retirement age. We have not changed it. The retirement age was 65 and it remains at 65. Flexibility for early retirement for those in specific sectors have not changed for contributory pension. We only align the entitlement to BRP with the retirement age in order, again, to ensure fiscal sustainability. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the dire financial predicament we have inherited demands immediate and decisive fiscal consolidation. Without prompt corrective measures, we risk to follow the trajectory of countries such as Sri Lanka or Greece, nations that delayed essential reforms and ultimately faced severe financial crisis, forcing them to accept tough, externally imposed bailout conditions. The previous government's legacy bears troubling similarities to these examples. Their pattern of unchecked and reckless spending has placed our public finances in dire straits. As a result, our national debt is projected to rise to 642 billion rupees by the end of June of this year, equivalent to 90% of GDP, highlighting the urgent need to restore fiscal discipline and rebuild economic resilience. There is a very, very high risk of the country being downgraded if there is no fiscal consolidation, and I wish to remind the House that a downgrade to a junk status would have very, very serious implications on the cost of borrowing, on our financial services sector, on the value of the rupee, investments, foreign direct investments, and the economy as a whole. No one, Mr. Deputy Speaker, would invest in a country which has the status of junk. We simply cannot afford a downgrade from investment status to junk status. As a responsible government, we could not ignore the risks posed by our unsustainable pension system, not only to public finances, but also to the well-being of our elderly population. We have no choice than to reform our shockingly unsustainable pension system. Unreformed, there would be no financial resources to pay for future pensions, even for those above 65 years. There is hardly any country that has the rare combination of providing old-age pension to all those above 60 without any contribution and without a means test. In fact, several developed countries have embraced two of the following free measures. One, extension of the retirement age to 65 and beyond. I just mentioned France and Germany. Second, introduction of a contributory element in the system with exceptions for low-income earners. And third, adoption of a means-tested system for old age pension so as to allocate public resources more efficiently and equitably and target support to those who are in need. In these systems, eligibility for a pension or the amount received is based on household income and assets. Countries such as Australia, Canada, Japan, South Korea, and Chile use means test as an eligibility criteria for old age pension. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in the light of the devastating legacy left by the previous administration, we had no choice but to confront the urgent need for pension reform head-on. However, we remain deeply mindful of the challenges the most vulnerable may face under the proposed changes, and we are committed to addressing their concerns with compassion and empathy. As a democratic government, we have heard these concerns. As a compassionate government that is committed to stand by the most vulnerable at all times, we have decided to establish 2 interministerial committees to examine matters related to the basic retirement pension. The first committee will explore potential income support for individuals aged between 60 and 65 who become ineligible as a result of the reform and whose main or sole source of income is the BRP. This will cover a range of beneficiaries such as housewives, retirees, and workers with low occupation pension, who all rely mainly or solely on the BRP. This committee will be chaired by myself and will comprise the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Financial Services and Economic Planning, the Minister of Energy and Public Utilities, the Minister of Labour and Industrial Relations, the Minister of Industry, SMEs and Cooperatives, the Junior Minister for Finance, Junior Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity. The second committee will examine potential support for individuals who are unable to work due to health-related disabilities. This committee will be chaired by the Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity and comprise the Minister of Housing and Lands, the Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, the Minister of National Infrastructure, the Minister of Health and Wellness, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the escalating financial burden on future generations from an aging society is the challenge faced by most countries. If the current demographic trajectory of Mauritius persists, then our pension system will simply run out of money. Let me be very candid. The BRP system is a time bomb. It is a time bomb that is fast ticking away. However, it is unfortunate that many do not seem to really care or worry, as they will no longer be around when the bomb will explode. Worse, Mr. Deputy Speaker, a highly respected professional actuary has stated that this time bomb has already exploded, that we now face the urgent and uphill task of containing the damage. Consequently, pension reform is absolutely critical. It aims at enhancing financial sustainability, and at the heart of this reform is the imperative to establish parity between what each generation pays and receives, thereby promoting fairness in intergenerational burden sharing. Thank you.
Public bills for first reading.
Honourable Attorney General.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move that the Revenue Tribunal Bill number 12 of 2025 be read a first time.
Your mic.
I thought I spoke loud enough. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move that the Revenue Tribunal Bill number 12 of 2025 be read a first time.
Seconded. The motion needs to be seconded by them. Let me get it.
I move that the Legal Aid and Legal Assistance Bill number 13 of 2025 be read a first time.
Seconded. Seconded.
Public bill second reading.
Madam Speaker will take the chair.
You may be seated, members.
Big Bill, second reading.
Yes, Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I wish to make the following statement by way of personal explanation under Standing Order 28.
Yes.
With a view to dispelling any doubt about the interpretation of paragraph 272 of the budget speech 2025-2026 relating to fair share contribution of 15%, I would like to inform the House that it relates to a high income earner earning annual net income exceeding 12 million rupees, inclusive of dividend income received during the year from domestic companies, who will be required to pay a fair share contribution at the rate of 15% of his chargeable income in excess of 12 million rupees. Consequently, paragraph 275 and 276, as they appear in the printed version of the budget speech, should be disregarded.
Thank you. Yes. Honourable Leader of the Opposition, debate.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. I think we should be able to agree on two things. One, that this budget is a budget de rupture à la FMI, and that this budget de rupture à la FMI est le contraire of the electoral platform on which the Labour Party was elected. When I'm saying that, I'm not making a value judgment. I will explain why I believe that it is a statement of fact. I said budget de rupture à la FMI. Now bear in mind, Madam Speaker, that those are not my words. I have merely quoted Honorable Paul Béranger as leader of the opposition during his intervention on the budget 2006-2007. And this statement, Madam Speaker, summarizes also the 2025-2026 budget, that is, the abolition of the pension for those between 60 to 65, the review of subsidies, and the abolition of various social and educational allocations, un budget à la FMI. Madame la Présidente, nous débutons aujourd'hui les débats sur l'Appropriation Bill 2025-2026, le premier budget proposé par l'Alliance du changement, et c'est un budget qui trahit la confiance de la population, qui a cru en vos promesses pendant la campagne électorale. Dans chaque budget, il y a du bon, il y a du moins bon, et parfois, il y a du pas bon du tout. Malheureusement et tristement pour ce peuple, ce budget a très peu de bonnes mesures et beaucoup de pas bons du tout, Madame la Présidente. Pour qualifier ce budget 2025-2026, je me suis permis au tout début de mon intervention d'emprunter les mots utilisés par un des membres les plus influents de l'actuel gouvernement en 22 juin 2006, presque 19 ans de cela, budget de rupture à la FMI. L'histoire se répète, Madame la Présidente. En 2005, le gouvernement travailliste d'alors avait affirmé vouloir changer la vie des gens en 100 jours. Malheureusement, la vie de chaque Mauricien était devenue amère après ces 100 jours, et à cette époque, il y régnait la même situation, une rupture totale entre la population et le gouvernement. C'est le même sentiment avec ce budget de rupture où on étouffe toute une population avec ce budget austère. Le constat, Madame la Présidente, c'est, je le répète parce que c'est important, rupture il y a eu, elle est réelle, mais elle est entre le gouvernement et toute une population, incluant aussi les habitants de Rodrigue et d'Agaléga. Une grande majorité de la population sera au fond des abîmes avec la mise en place des mesures antisociales annoncées dans le présent budget. Madame la Présidente, c'est le démantèlement de l'État-providence. Ce sera un drame humain pour des milliers de familles mauriciennes. 3 ans de souffrance pour le peuple et attendre peut-être à la veille des élections de 2029 pour récolter des miettes. Madame la Présidente, quand on sait ce que l'Alliance du changement avait promis à la population et ce qui a été annoncé dans le budget, et sans aucun doute, je l'ai dit quand je suis intervenu juste après la présentation du budget, c'est la plus grande trahison électorale de notre histoire. Madame la Présidente, par exemple, en Corée du Sud, l'article 250 de la loi électorale condamne les fausses promesses faites pendant une campagne électorale. Peut-être qu'il est temps de légiférer sur les promesses électorales. La Constitutional Commission, qui sera mise sur pied à Maurice, pourrait peut-être se penser sur une telle législation. Madame la Présidente, je suis tenté à poser cette question. Sommes-nous devenus, avec ce gouvernement, les cobayes des institutions internationales? Laissez-moi remonter le temps. Sir Anirudh Jagannath, en tant que Premier ministre, n'a jamais cédé face à des institutions, même pendant les périodes les plus difficiles de notre pays, c'est-à-dire les années 80. Madame la Présidente, il y a eu du changement depuis la prise de pouvoir de ce gouvernement. Le premier, et cela je ne mets pas en doute la capacité du Junior Minister, l'honorable Damri, mais de mémoire, c'est la première fois qu'un Junior Minister préside les consultations avec les stakeholders pour la préparation du budget. Je comprends que l'honorable membre est considéré par beaucoup au sein de l'Alliance du changement, je ne dirais pas comme the preferred one, mais comme the next one, Madame la Présidente. Mais de là à lui donner un tel pouvoir et de telles responsabilités seulement 7 mois après les élections, cela doit nous interpeller, Madame la Présidente. Au sein de la majorité, on fait de l'honorable membre maintenant le bouc émissaire de l'impopularité de ce gouvernement. Mais nous savons tous que c'est le Premier ministre et le cabinet ministériel qui sont responsables de l'abolition de la pension pour les 60 à 65 ans et toutes ces taxes imposées sur la population. Madame la Présidente, ce qui nous interpelle aujourd'hui, c'est le manque de cohésion et définitivement l'amateurisme dans la préparation du budget. C'est le résultat de la mauvaise cohabitation entre les rouges, les mauves et les papillons, Madame la Présidente. Depuis sa prise de pouvoir, l'establishment politique, longtemps dans l'opposition, s'adapte difficilement avec l'administration publique. Par exemple, le musical chair presque hebdomadaire des fonctionnaires, le recrutement des des officiers retraités sur contrat en sont les preuves. Un chapelet de promesses électorales et après la victoire, ce gouvernement vient nous parler de l'état de l'économie comme prétexte pour ne pas tenir leurs promesses. Il y a eu, depuis novembre 2024, ce que je qualifierais, Madame la Présidente, un management of public opinion très précis, avec comme motif la caisse vide. Un rapport sur l'état de l'économie très douteux. Un rapport sur l'état de l'économie. I need your protection, Madam Speaker, to speak.
Honourable members. Madam Sabapati, yes, I'm on my feet. Honourable members, I would rather that the leader of the opposition, also given the fact that there are just two of them, that he be allowed to make his speech. It is his right. Don't interrupt him too much. No, I can't. Even you are laughing. I can't stop you laughing, reacting subtly, but be subtle. Be subtle. Let him speak. He will speak for he has the right to speak for quite some time. Honourable Jaman, I'm speaking and I'm on my feet. He has the right to speak for quite some time. Let him speak. You will get the chance to reply. Please, Honourable Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Un rapport sur l'état de l'économie très douteux et non signé, mais préparé par des consultants, en croire le junior ministre. La caisse vide, mais en même temps, plusieurs des ministres ont voyagé aux frais de l'État. Apparemment, 33 voyages en 8 mois. Achat de voitures neuves par les ministres, incluant le Premier ministre. Is this a budget that will go down in history? Well, yes, but if it does, Madam Speaker, it will be for all the wrong reasons. And in particular, it might go down in history as the budget that started the dismantling of the welfare state in our country and the disappearance of the safety net for the working class and the more vulnerable of our society, Madam Speaker. There is no doubt that this government won on the back of promises and pledges to alleviate the cost of living crisis and restore people's purchasing power. But instead, this government in its first budget has stripped our social security system to the bones. It provides neither security nor enough support to those who receive it. Unsurprisingly, Madam Speaker, this budget will play into the sense that politicians will say anything to win votes. Mais Madame la Présidente, aujourd'hui, grâce à l'Internet, les paroles ne s'envolent plus. Les belles paroles, les fausses promesses et les engagements pris pendant la campagne électorale sont toujours présents dans la mémoire de la population. Qui ne se rappelle pas de ces fameuses expressions? L'essence pour baisser par plus que 20 roupies. Comme mon ministre de l'énergie, vous baissez prix courant. Witabix monte au galba. Doud monte au galba. Lanchi monte au galba. Paisa que mol naiba. Madame la Présidente, permettez-moi de faire quelques commentaires sur les mesures annoncées pour différents secteurs. En premier, l'économie.
I suppose you think that everybody will have understood you.
Of course, madam. Of course.
No,
if they voted for this government, everybody has understood what was said at that time.
It's a very popular saying.
Yes.
Widely regarded.
Ma première... No, madam. The standing order is clear. He has to withdraw what he said.
Yes, you have to withdraw. That is a personal attack. You have to withdraw nicely. Nicely.
I didn't mention any
No,
name.
you did. You did. Come on. Be nice.
Okay, I withdraw.
And you are a gentleman. Ma première interrogation concerne l'utilisation des revenus pour la location de Diego Garcia pour éponger une partie de la dette publique. Est-ce raisonnable d'inclure cette somme s'il n'y a aucune garantie de recevoir ces fonds cette année? Je constate aussi qu'il n'y a rien dans ce budget pour le développement des Chagos, ni même une étude pour le développement potentiel des Chagos. Now, Madam Speaker, let me come to the anonymous state of the economic document. C'est indéniable aujourd'hui qu'avec ce document, il y a eu une tentative de la part du gouvernement de créer un chaos économique et social dans le pays juste après les élections. Ce document non signé a entravé la confiance des investisseurs et a réussi à établir une psychose au sein de la population. Un document qui est anonyme et biaisé. Le junior ministre, l'honorable Damri, lors d'une émission à la radio, a affirmé que des consultants ont travaillé sur ce rapport, mais il ne donne pas le nom de ces consultants. Et c'est la première fois, si je ne me trompe pas, Madame la Présidente, que des consultants produisent un rapport pour le gouvernement, déposé au Parlement, et ils ne déclinent pas leurs identités. Maintenant, c'est le privé qui va vérifier et déterminer le travail des hauts cadres du gouvernement. Je le redis, l'objectif de ce document était d'instaurer la peur parmi la population en prélude du budget, en faisant croire que les finances de l'État sont faibles, que les dettes publiques sont insoutenables et que le gouvernement ne peut plus continuer à soutenir les différentes couches de la population avec l'aide financière sociale introduite par l'ancien gouvernement. En effet, ce n'était qu'un stratagème politique pour justifier la politique économique de Serre Saint-Cyr. Les membres du gouvernement, les députés se sont appuyés sur les épaules de Moody's. Ils parlent de chaos économique et même de junk status. Après la présentation de ce budget, le gouvernement est chaos face à la colère du peuple. La note émise par Moody's jeudi dernier vient jeter les doutes sur les mesures annoncées par ce gouvernement. Ils veulent plaire en imposant des taxes exorbitantes, en réduisant les allocations sociales, mais ces mêmes instances vous disent que vos mesures vont appauvrir la population. It is a fact, Madam Speaker, that some key economic indicators, as published by this government itself, show that our economy was resilient and robust in 2024. For example, the gross official international reserves of the country stood at 8.5 billion USD as at end December 2024, against 7.3 billion USD a year earlier. The employment rate, Madam Speaker, dropped to 6% in 2024. Total investment in the country has increased by 8.3%, and Mauritius attracted 33 billion rupees in FDI in 2024, and tourism arrivals have been surpassed pre-COVID figures in 2024 to reach 1.38 million. In addition, Madam Speaker, another report, the IMF in its Article 4 report in 2024 has lauded Mauritius for its income inequality reduction philosophy. The IMF has commended Mauritius for fostering inclusive growth by protecting households impacted by the rising cost of living since 2022, broadening social benefits to the most vulnerable and fostering entrepreneurship. Madam Speaker, the World Bank Country Outlook on Mauritius, published in 2025, stated that our economy has proven resilient to other global economic shocks, including those stemming from the war in Ukraine, which have affected revenues from tourism arrivals. Madam Speaker, with regard now to public debt, in November 2024, when this government took over from us, total public sector debt was at 546 billion rupees. This public sector debt has spiked to 642 billion rupees, an increase of 96 billion rupees in the last 7 months. The government has contracted loans for 96 billion rupees during the first 7 months, Madam Speaker. Is this what we call fiscal discipline and fiscal responsibility? Now, with regard to GDP projections, we were all taken aback to witness the downsizing of the growth in the last 6 months of the financial year 2024-2025. That is from January 2025 to June 2025 under this new government. It is evidently clear, Madam Speaker, that the government has been dormant in the first 7 months of its mandate, or purposely, let me put it this way, purposely doing so to retard the growth process by hindering strategic institutional functions like the EDB, the FSC, and the NSLD, to name a few, Madam Speaker. Je vais maintenant aborder l'une des mesures les plus controversables de ce quart de siècle dans ce budget, la pension de vieillesse gouvernementale pour ceux âgés de 60 à 65 ans. Madame la Présidente, 2 comités seront mis sur pied pour revoir la pension, cela a été dit. Une annonce qui intervient seulement 11 jours après le premier budget de ce gouvernement. C'est ça le changement. Annoncer des mesures et ensuite mettre des comités ministériels pour revoir si la mesure peut être applicable ou pas. À travers les 2 comités mis sur pied, l'intention du gouvernement est claire, et le Premier ministre l'a annoncé tout à l'heure là, c'est le ciblage. Alors, on va déshabiller Michael maintenant pour habiller Jackson. 10 jours de cela, le Premier ministre, lors d'un interview, il trouvait le ciblage comme une injustice. Hier, le cabinet ministériel sous la présidence du Premier ministre de mettre en place ces 2 comités pour travailler sur le ciblage. Effectivement, lors d'un interview à la MBC, le Premier ministre avait dit qu'il trouvait le ciblage injuste. Tout comme la grande majorité de la population, Madame la Présidente, je suis contre le ciblage. Avec ces propositions, vous essayez d'apaiser la colère, mais ce n'est pas le cas. La politique de diviser la population sur ce sujet ne marchera pas cette fois-ci. Maintenant, il y a des questions qu'on doit se poser. Doit-on passer par un test médical pour être éligible à la pension quand on sait comment fonctionnent ces boards médicales à la sécurité sociale? Et je m'adresse aux membres de cette auguste assemblée pour get figure, pour gagner pension, si ou agent tel parti politique les là pour gagner pension, la suppression de la pension de vieillesse gouvernementale pour ceux âgés de 60 à 65 ans est une des mesures des plus injustes envers nos travailleurs et les femmes au foyer. L'histoire, Madame la Présidente, retiendra que c'est un gouvernement qui comprend 3 partis politiques qui ont pris naissance dans la lutte des travailleurs de notre pays, qui se disent socialistes, le PTR, le MMM et Résistance et Alternative, qui ont pris cette décision. Dans ma toute première déclaration à la presse, après le budget, j'ai déploré l'absence de consultation avant l'introduction de cette mesure. Le gouvernement a agi unilatéralement pour détériorer la vie de toute la société civile de notre pays. Je ne suis pas le seul à l'avoir évoqué. Tous les syndicats ont reproché au gouvernement l'absence de consultation. Et hier, le ministre de la Sécurité sociale a publiquement critiqué le Premier ministre sur une radio pour manque de consultation. Résistance et Alternative, qui fait partie du gouvernement, a émis un communiqué pour dire la même chose, c'est-à-dire le manque de consultation. Et permettez-moi, Madame la Présidente, de faire quelques observations pertinentes sur les déclarations faites et le contenu de ce communiqué en date du 14 juin. Est-ce que les membres de Résistance et Alternative ne savent pas si ce parti a un ministre au sein de ce gouvernement et qu'il a droit à la parole au sein du Conseil des ministres? Mais comme disait Madame la Présidente, Jean-Pierre Chevènement, ancien ministre français, un ministre, ça ferme sa gueule, si ça veut l'ouvrir, ça démissionne. Je pose cette fameuse expression, Madame la Présidente, à l'appréciation de la population. Autre remarque sur ce même communiqué. Est-ce normal que le président du conseil d'administration du musée de l'esclavage, il est co-signataire de ce communiqué politique? Je pense qu'il faut répondre à ces questions-là. Ce gouvernement est entouré des conseillers de grande expérience. Mais malgré cela, ce gouvernement a commis une des plus grandes gaffes politiques depuis notre indépendance avec la mesure sur la pension des 60 à 65 ans. Madame la Présidente, au paragraphe 240 du discours du budget, et je cite, « In order to address this burning issue, we are setting up a commission of experts to make recommendations to reform the various pillars of our pension system, including revamping the National Pension Fund to replace the CSG. I will personally chair a steering committee to assess and act on the recommendation of the Commission. Ensuite, au paragraphe 248, et je cite, The age eligibility for BRP is being increased to 65 years out of compassion. We are phasing that increase over a period of 5 years. Donc, pareil encore, donc il annule la pension pour les 60 à 65 ans, il abolisse la CSG et ensuite ils mettent en place des comités pour réformer le système de pension. Madame la Présidente, excusez-moi, c'est mettre la charrue devant les bœufs. Un processus, encore une fois, qui démontre un amateurisme flagrant en matière de gestion. Pas de consultation, ni aucune étude sur l'effet de cette mesure sur la population. Madame la Présidente, je vois dans ce budget une répétition du budget de 2006. Sauf que cette fois-ci, l'implémentation est différente. Et là, permettez-moi de remercier et saluer le courage des syndicalistes qui, à l'époque, là je parle de 2006, s'étaient unanimement soulevés contre cette mesure. Le gouvernement de 2005 à 2010 avait dû faire marche arrière et j'espère, Madame la Présidente, que ce sera une fois de plus le cas et que le gouvernement va rétablir la pension pour tous. Et pour moi, il ne peut y avoir de compromis sur ce sujet. La révision de l'âge de la retraite est déjà une réalité, il est vrai, dans certains pays de l'hémisphère nord. Mais écoutez-moi bien, mais ces pays sont très développés, premièrement, et ont une qualité de vie reconnue mondialement. Et ces pays ont une espérance de vie plus élevée que chez nous. Dans la plupart, Madame la Présidente, dans la plupart des secteurs d'activité à Maurice, la semaine de travail est de 45 heures, alors qu'en Europe, elle est de 40 heures ou moins de 40 heures par semaine. Malheureusement, il n'y a rien dans ce budget qui démontre que le gouvernement compte revoir à la baisse les heures du travail avec l'implémentation de cette mesure. Au contraire, avec les mesures antisociales dans ce budget, les travailleurs de notre pays auront beaucoup plus à travailler pour pouvoir arrondir leur fin de mois. Imaginez les effets de leurs activités sur leur santé. 20% de notre population est diabétique. 30% de notre population souffre d'hypertension. Les personnes âgées sont les plus touchées. Notre espérance de vie, Monsieur le Premier ministre, est de 74 ans, alors que plusieurs pays où il y a eu une révision de l'âge de la retraite, l'espérance de vie dépasse les 80 ans. Donc, le citoyen de notre République aura à travailler plus en termes d'heures de travail, d'années de travail, que ceux de l'hémisphère nord. Il aura à cotiser plus, puisqu'il devra le faire jusqu'à l'âge de 65 ans, et pour peut-être profiter de sa pension que pour quelques années. Et peut-être certains parmi eux ne toucheront même pas cette pension, Madame la Présidente. And I put the question, is it fair? The answer is no, Madam Speaker. Madame la Présidente, ce pays qualifié comme un overcrowded barracoon dans les années 70 par l'écrivain V.S. Naipaul est aujourd'hui un pays classé régulièrement en première position sur le continent dans plusieurs secteurs, et cela grâce au sacrifice de ces Mauriciennes et Mauriciens qui ont travaillé dur au fil des années. Je vais maintenant, Madame la Présidente, aborder une autre mesure qui va affecter toute la population et qui se trouve au paragraphe 17B de l'annexe du budget. Government will implement reforms of public enterprises to ensure that they are financially sustainable, efficient, and accountable through a coordinated policy approach focused on strengthening governance and oversight, institutionalizing financial discipline, and reforming pricing and subsidy frameworks. Et je m'arrête là, Madame la Présidente. Il n'y a aucun problème que le gouvernement compte réformer certains secteurs. Par contre, sous ce même item, les mots qui doivent interpeller la population sont reforming pricing and subsidy frameworks. Madame la Présidente, en 2006, le gouvernement d'alors avait préconisé l'abolition des subsides sur le riz et la farine. Et dans ce budget, le présent budget, de façon déguisée, on nous annonce la fin des subsides. La population doit s'attendre à une augmentation du prix de la farine, du riz ration, du gaz ménager, du pain et aussi des centaines d'autres produits. C'est aussi l'annonce de la fin des subsides sur la facture d'électricité et de l'eau pour les familles les plus vulnérables. Madame la Présidente, 61 000 familles qui bénéficient du Social Tarif 110 du CEB et 60 000 familles qui bénéficient de 6 mètres cubes d'eau gratuits seront directement impactés par cette mesure. Madame la Présidente, c'est un gouvernement anti-subside, pro-patronat, tout comme celui de 2005 à 2010. Et pour faire court, c'est un gouvernement sans cœur.
Laissez causer, madame.
Of course.
This guy is...
But il a le droit de parler. Est-ce que il semblerait que vous n'êtes pas en train de bien citer ce qu'il y a dans le document en question?
Non, je suis en train de citer.
You will reply. You will
There will
reply.
be 64 people to rebut him. Let him speak. 64 persons. I can't speak from sitting down.
I will not accept that Honorable Duval all the time tells me how to do my job. And by sitting down all the time. I want to be quite clear on this. This is not the first time. You must make, if you are not happy, you must make Honorable DPM, please, I'm on my feet. You must stand up, make a point of order, then I will listen to you. But stop telling me, by sitting down all the time, how to do my job.
Speaker, Madam Speaker, I was raising your attention.
If you raise a point of order, you must tell me under which standing order.
The position is being interrupted.
Under what standing order?
Well,
and I think that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has been in this House for a very long time, and he can defend himself.
Madam Speaker, you will see under points of order, you will see, firstly, Standing Order 40.
Let me see.
Yes. The use of unbecoming expressions, offending language about members, which is being used as a petition against the Leader of Opposition, the first thing.
No,
and you will see.
please sit down. I will stop you now because that was not at this stage. When there was an offensive language, what did I do, Honorable Duval? I asked the member to withdraw and he did. So please let the leader of the opposition, please all of you, let him get on with his speech. He will be criticizing. That's what he's here for. And then you will rebut him. Please take note. Please go on, leader of the opposition. No.
If I may raise a second.
No, I'm not allowing. I'm not allowing. No, no. I'm not allowing anybody to speak at this time. Okay, that's it. Point de droit. Allez.
Madame la Présidente, je suis responsable du secteur de l'énergie, l'électricité. J'ai pris le leader de l'opposition en flagrant délit de mentir à l'Assemblée nationale. Ça n'a jamais été cité dans le budget et le leader de l'opposition lit le budget à l'envers et il vient dire n'importe quoi. Ce n'est pas possible, il faudra qu'il se rétracte.
Ok. Vous avez la possibilité de répondre, Monsieur le Ministre. Be very careful, Honorable Leader. Est-ce que même mon député m'empêche de parler? Don't make it so difficult for everybody. You're going to stay here until 2 o'clock in the morning if you want. Okay, then let's all be responsible. Let's start by you, leader of the opposition. No, I'm saying because you're on your feet. In fact, you're on your feet when I am.
Yeah, if you tell me to sit down, I'll sit down.
Because I see you very well when you stand on your feet. Lucky me. So what I'm going to say is make sure that you're giving proper facts. What the minister is saying is that when you speak, if he doesn't reply immediately, it's going on record, it's going in everybody's house, and it's going to be in the press tomorrow. So you have to be responsible as well. Just make sure that you're giving facts, proper facts, and you cite page and you cite article or whatever. Let me say something. I want to say something. Have a look, all of you, at Standing Order 73-2 about the debate on the appropriation bill. The debate on the appropriation bill shall be confined to general principles of government policy and administration as indicated by the bill and the estimates. That's what the debate is about. So I can understand that sometimes everybody is making, reference to the past government's reference, but basically we are here to debate on the bill and the estimates. So please carry on.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I referred to a paragraph in the annex to the budget speech, and this is my right to do so. Okay. I read that paragraph, and I'll read it again. Government will implement reforms of public enterprises to ensure they are financially sustainable, efficient, and accountable through a coordinated policy approach focused on strengthening governance and oversight, institutionalizing financial discipline, and reforming pricing and subsidy frameworks. Those institutions are, from the same paragraph, Mauritius Post Limited, Metro Express Limited, National Transport Corporation Limited, Mauritius Multi-Sports Infrastructure Limited, Polytechnics Mauritius Limited, Central Water Authority, Wastewater Management Authority, Irrigation Authority, Agricultural Marketing Board, Central Electricity Board, State Investment Corporation, casinos, and State Trading Corporation. So this is very relevant to what I'm saying. Now, If they want to rebut, they'll rebut when they have the floor. They cannot interrupt me now and then, Madam Speaker. That's why I ask for your protection, because I want to read my speech.
A little bit, they can.
Pour faire court, je le redis, Madame la Présidente, c'est un gouvernement sans cœur. Sans cœur pour les plus vulnérables, sans cœur pour les commerçants ayant des revenus de plus de 3 millions de roupies, mais bon cœur pour ceux ayant des revenus de plus de 24 millions de roupies. Madame la Présidente, nous avons célébré cette année les 50 ans de mai 75, quand des milliers de jeunes de ce pays s'étaient dressés contre un gouvernement abusif pour avoir l'éducation gratuite. J'ai fait partie de cette génération et ce 20 mai, j'étais parmi ceux qui étaient sur le pont de la Grande Rivière Nord-Ouest face aux soldats de la SSU. Certains, cette année-ci, ont marqué cet événement, mais je note que les célébrations étaient timides car le gouvernement d'alors était travailliste et les manifestants étaient pour la plupart des militants. Nous avons grandement amélioré l'éducation gratuite avec l'éducation tertiaire en 2019 et pour finalement rendre l'éducation pré-primaire gratuite en 2024 et ainsi rendre tout le cycle éducationnel gratuit. 50 ans après mai 75, ce gouvernement vient briser le rêve des milliers de jeunes Mauriciennes et Mauriciens en les obligeant désormais, c'est-à-dire je fais référence aux part-timers, à payer la totalité des frais de leurs études tertiaires. Un crime, Madame la Présidente. Et l'explication du Junior Minister of Finance démontre l'arrogance de ce gouvernement. Sur une radio privée où j'y étais moi aussi invité, voilà ce qu'il avait dit pour soutenir cette mesure. Pour lui, ces personnes travaillent déjà, ils peuvent payer alors qu'ils payent. Et oula, quelle arrogance, Madame la Présidente. Il n'y a rien de plus noble qu'une personne qui travaille à plein temps et va suivre des cours après les heures de travail. Est-ce qu'il sait que beaucoup de ces part-timers sont des mères et pères de famille qui maintenant doivent faire beaucoup plus d'efforts? Imaginez-vous un instant que ces personnes touchent le salaire minimum. Savez-vous combien ça coûte un semestre? Non seulement ces jeunes doivent s'endetter pour aujourd'hui l'obtention d'un lopin de terre, la construction d'une maison qui va coûter plus cher ou l'achat d'un véhicule qui va coûter plus cher, ça aussi. Et maintenant, pour obtenir un diplôme, ils doivent aussi s'endetter alors que c'était gratuit. On connaît déjà le résultat. Beaucoup parmi eux vont abandonner. Il y a aussi, Madame la Présidente, les autres mesures qui vont grandement affecter nos enfants. L'arrêt du Free Pre-Primary Education Scheme, l'arrêt du Comprehensive Grant Formula, le retrait des subsides, ça je trouve ça bête, accordés aux repeaters de l'ASI et HSI qui seront maintenant que pour les familles tombant sous le SRM. L'abolition de l'allocation de 20 000 roupies à ceux atteignant l'âge de 18 ans. Madame la Présidente, ce gouvernement ose parler d'empathie et de compassion dans ce budget. Où se trouve la compassion dans ce budget? Une à une, vous êtes en train d'enlever les pierres qui constituent la fondation même de l'État-providence. Vous avez promis de soulager ce peuple et aujourd'hui, vous êtes en train de faire absolument le contraire. Quand on parle du pouvoir d'achat avec ce gouvernement, il évoque que la caisse est vide. Une des plus grandes promesses faites à la population était la baisse du prix du carburant après les élections par au moins 30 roupies, avait dit le Premier ministre. 20? Allez, 20 roupies. Quand j'ai évoqué la baisse des prix du carburant à travers une PNQ, le ministre de tutelle avait mis en avant la situation financière de la STC et la situation du Price Stabilization Account. Mais comparativement aux 5 dernières années, le prix du pétrole sur le marché mondial a drastiquement baissé ces derniers mois. Et maintenant, vous allez vous servir du conflit entre l'Iran et Israël pour augmenter le prix. Le gouvernement joue aux ignorants en ce qui concerne le déficit du Stabilization Account de la STC, alors, et je l'ai dit, que tous les comptes rendus, toutes les décisions prises par la STC sont rendues publiques, et cela depuis plusieurs années, que ce soit sur le site de la STC ou dans les journaux. Encore une autre promesse non tenue par ce gouvernement concerne les 10 milliards promis pour améliorer le pouvoir d'achat de la population. Ce budget ne prévoit que 2 milliards dans un Price Stabilization Fund, mais la question c'est qui va bénéficier directement de ce fonds? Les consommateurs, les importateurs ou les revendeurs? Va-t-on enrichir les gros importateurs ou certains revendeurs qui font d'énormes marges de profit en leur offrant des rebates pour ne pas augmenter le prix? This is not clear in the budget, Madam Speaker.
Okay, somebody will clarify.
La population attendait aussi une autre mesure concernant la baisse du prix de l'électricité. Le ministre actuel avait fait une telle promesse avant les élections. Mais ne vous servez pas comme prétexte la situation financière du CEB. C'est vrai qu'il y avait un déficit, mais le CEB commence à engranger des surplus de plus de 200 millions mensuellement. Le prix du charbon est passé de $559 en décembre 2022 à $107 en avril 2025. Le coût de production a nettement baissé. Le prix de l'huile lourde utilisée par le CEB a aussi connu une baisse de $30 la tonne métrique. Et la forte hausse de consommation de novembre, c'est-à-dire l'année dernière 2024, à avril 2025, a fait que le CEB a enregistré des gros revenus. Encore une promesse non tenue par ce gouvernement. J'aborde le sujet de l'énergie parce que c'est un budget décevant sur cet aspect. Je parle ici d'un Waste to Energy Project et un fonds d'investissement de 30 milliards sur 3 ans pour des projets d'énergie renouvelable et de la biomasse. 30 milliards de roupies d'investissement du privé ou du gouvernement. Quels sont les projets identifiés qui seront mis en place? Ce n'est pas mentionné dans le budget. Même au CEB, on est étonné de cette annonce puisqu'il n'y a eu aucune consultation avec les cadres du CEB et aucun nouveau projet d'énergie renouvelable a été identifié. Madame la Présidente, c'est l'investissement des projets de l'ancien gouvernement qui sont considérés dans le présent budget. Ce sont les projets sous le Carbon Neutral Industrial Sector Scheme du CEB lancé en janvier 2023 et le Renewable Hybrid Facility lancé en 2022 qui vont apporter l'investissement de 30 milliards. Et le ministre de tutelle, beau parleur, n'a rien apporté de nouveau. Je note.
Vous aussi, vous ajoutez un petit peu.
Non, mais il est beau parleur, madame, je le dis. C'est un compliment. C'est un compliment, ça.
Il est beau parleur, mais pas marrant.
Je note une incohérence flagrante dans la stratégie énergétique du gouvernement. Le 8 mai dernier, lors d'une conférence de presse animée par le ministre, il avait affirmé que le gouvernement n'a pas de choix et devra avoir recours à un powership, une centrale énergétique sur une barge flottante pour fournir l'électricité au pays pendant les 5 prochaines années. Le powership utilisera l'huile lourde comme matière première et en plus, vous taxez fortement les voitures hybrides et électriques. Par contre, Madame la Présidente, le budget prévoit, je cite le paragraphe 290.2, Clean Energy, Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation to lower imports of fossil fuel and carbon dioxide emission while enhancing resilience to unpredictable climatic events and boosting economic growth. Which is which, Madame Speaker? En ce qui concerne la rivière des Anguilles d'Am, il n'y a qu'une étape avant de lancer l'appel d'offres. Tout a été fait par l'ancien gouvernement. Le pre-feasibility du projet et le financement par les pays amis. Dans 3 ans, si le ministre sera toujours là, le ministre actuel aura l'honneur de coupe-ruban et de se vanter d'avoir accompli ce projet, tout comme les projets d'énergie renouvelable qui sont actuellement en chantier. Pour ce qui est du secteur du transport, encore un coup de massue pour les automobilistes. Augmentation drastique des frais de la déclaration et désormais, les détenteurs de plaques personnalisées devront s'acquitter des frais annuels. Je me demande si cette mesure est légale, premièrement. Sans oublier, Madame la Présidente, l'explosion des prix de voitures avec les taxes imposées dans ce budget. Je vais maintenant, Madame la Présidente, aborder le secteur de la construction. Et là, c'est important. Ce budget va détruire le secteur de la construction et du property development à Maurice. The construction industry is more than just steel and concrete. It is a pillar of our economy. It sustains thousands of professionals, architects, engineers, notaries, and supports skilled tradespeople, electricians, bricklayers, plumbers, carpenters. It drives entire industries from material suppliers and logistics firms to furniture maker and real estate brokers. C'est connu que quand le secteur de la construction affiche bonne mine, cela a une répercussion positive sur l'ensemble de l'économie. L'ancien gouvernement avait vu juste en investissant massivement dans ce secteur et d'en faire un pôle de croissance. Le pays a connu un développement infrastructurel sans précédent en 5 ans, avec une quarantaine de projets routiers majeurs, plus de 600 projets de drains, environ 4000 logements sociaux, un terminal moderne, le Victoria Urban Terminal, et le métro qui relie désormais nos 5 villes. Et tout d'un coup, ce secteur est à l'arrêt total avec l'avènement de ce nouveau gouvernement. Not only is this budget suffocating the foreign-driven residential market, it does not support the domestic one. The popular home ownership scheme, which refunded up 5% of the purchase of price for locals, have been scrapped. This was a lifeline, particularly for young Mauritians hoping to buy their first home. Its removal, Madam Speaker, will be deeply felt. Madam Speaker, only 2 major infrastructure projects have been announced, and both scheduled for year 3 of a 5-year plan. That is the M4 and the phase 2 of the Ring Road. The flagship of 12,000 social housing unit program is being discontinued, replaced with a meager 1,050 units to be constructed over a period of 5 years. Even the Metro Express extension has been put on hold. Madam Speaker, let me remind this House that smart cities have been a key engine of our national development. They've attracted FDI, created thousands of jobs, and served as beacons of innovation and sustainable urbanization. Withdrawing this framework overnight without a viable alternative sends the worst possible message to investors that Mauritius is no longer a reliable, stable, or predictable place to invest. Project risk being abundant, and the thousands of Mauritians whose livelihoods depend on this sector risk job losses. Madame la Présidente, 2 termes qui sont revenus souvent dans le budget sont l'intelligence artificielle